Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted. My topic of presentation is qualitative study designs under supervision of Professor Saira Afzal. Learning outline. In this presentation, I'm going to discuss the study designs, qualitative study designs, types, steps of qualitative research, and sample size calculation for qualitative studies. At the end of the presentations, participants will be able to describe the qualitative study designs, their types, advantages, and disadvantages. Now, what is a study design? A study design is a scientific plan or protocol for conducting the study which allows the investigator to translate the conceptual hypothesis into an operational one. There are two types of study designs, the qualitative study designs and the quantitative study designs. This is a Venn diagram showing that research can be qualitative or quantitative. And there can be some studies which include both the components of qualitative and quantitative studies. And these are also known as mixed methods. Now, in qualitative research, data is collected and observations are given as descriptions. Whereas in quantitative research, data is collected in form of numbers and counts. This is a table showing differences of qualitative research and quantitative research. A qualitative research is usually done to generate hypotheses, whereas quantitative research is done to test the hypothesis. In qualitative research, usually inductive approach is used, whereas in quantitative research, deductive approach is used. Both of these approaches are discussed in the next slide. And in qualitative research, usually non-random sampling such as purposive sampling and snowball sampling is used. In quantitative research can use both probability and non-probability sampling, but most commonly probability sampling is used for collecting the sample. And in qualitative research, data is collected by in-depth interviews, focus group discussions, and observations are taken. And in quantitative research, data is collected by structured questionnaires. And data analysis in qualitative research is an iterative interpretation. It means that when we collect some data, we analyze it and then again collect data. It's a cyclical process. But in the quantitative research, once we collect all the data and we analyze it at the end by using appropriate statistical tests. Now, the inductive research. Inductive approach is used in the qualitative research. That is, we collect observations, make a hypothesis, and generate theory from the observations. In deductive research, most commonly used in quantitative research, we have the theory, we make a hypothesis, and we take observations in form of counts and numbers. Qualitative study design. Qualitative research involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data to understand concept, opinions, or experiences. It is mostly done to provide in-depth understanding through rich description. We explore the problem, we generate thick or good description, and then interpretation is done. This is a diagram showing the process of qualitative research. The process or steps of qualitative research start from the phenomena of interest. For example, we want to study on acid burn victims. Then we develop a research question, which in this case will be the perspective of acid burn victims. Then we review the literature to look for what has been done on this topic. And based on our research question, we select an appropriate study design. And then we decide the instruments and data is collected. Data in qualitative research can be collected from multiple sources. For example, in acid burn victims, we can take data from in-depth interview, take observations, look for data and documents simultaneously in a one research. Then analysis is done. The analysis of qualitative research is different. That in qualitative research, we analyze the data after the sample is collected, and in quantitative research, the analysis is done at the end of all the data collection. And in qualitative research, there are repeated cycles for data analysis. And then final step is the report writing. Advantages of qualitative research: it provides in-depth understanding or perspective of the topic. It provides the theoretical framework for future studies. It has a flexible research design, and results are given in form of narration or stories. The disadvantages of qualitative research are that it has issues of generalizability because of small sample size, and the quality of qualitative research depends on data collector. Like an expert a data collector will collect the all in-depth aspects of a particular topic, whereas someone who is not good as good in data collecting may not gather all the evidence. And the other disadvantage is Hawthorne bias. Now the participants, they change their behavior when they notice that they are being observed, and results cannot be measured in form of counts in qualitative research. Sources of data collection. Data can be collected in multiple forms. We can take in-depth interview. In this, the data collector takes detailed interviews with the participants. Interviews can be recorded as well. Both verbal speech and non-verbal speech, such as expressions, are also recorded, and pauses are also recorded. Next is the focus group discussion, which is that there are usually 6 to 8 participants, and there is a moderator, and there's a discussion on a topic of interest. The third is the observation, in which the researcher observes the process and documents them. Then they can be open-ended surveys. The questionnaires are usually unstructured or semi-structured in case of qualitative research. Then documents and other media files, and the researcher looks for documents of the problem of interest. Data analysis. The first step is preparing and organizing the data and reducing data into themes. Now, at the end, we present the data in narrative or graphical form. In the qualitative research, the analysis is done in repeated cycles. The most two commonly used analyses are thematic analysis and content analysis. In thematic analysis, we have, in qualitative research, we have large amount of data. So we read it again and again. That is step one. We familiarizing with the data. We go through data again and again, and we generate initial codes. For example, love, belonging, and all the codes we generate. Then we combine the codes and generate the themes. And then we review the themes, and we define the themes again. This type of analysis is used in qualitative data. But if we are collecting the data in form of documents, from documents or recorded human communication, such as audio recording, multimedia, and newspaper and other documents, we use content analysis. In this, we examine the content of the documents, and analysis is done. There is a software for analysis of qualitative research, which is commonly used is NVivo, which is a place to organize, store, and analyze the data. It can import data from virtually any source, analyze data with advanced management and visualizations tools. It can ask complex questions of your data to identify themes and draw clear conclusions and achieve more robust research results in less time. We can also analyze the qualitative research manually, but NVivo makes this task easier. Now coming to the types of the qualitative research. There are many types of qualitative research. These are a few of them which are used very frequently. Number one is the case study, grounded theory, ethnography, phenomenology, and the narrative approach. Case study. Case study is the most common qualitative study which is used. To understand it, as the title denotes that case can be any event, problem, process, activity, program, a single person or several persons. No, and that case is studied in-depth understanding of the case is known as case study. We can collect data from multiple sources, that is we can do focused group discussion, in-depth interview, we can observe it simultaneously. And case study, there are boundaries by time and place. We have to define the time and place. This is an example of case study. In this case study, we want to know about the process. We are studying a process which is vaccination drive of typhoid in children in Pakistan. Now we have defined the boundaries. Place we have studied, want to study is Punjab, and time is from January to June 2019. And we can collect multiple data sources. For example, we can collect it from interviews, focus group discussions, observations, observing vaccination drive, reviewing documents, and multimedia. So it's an in-depth study of a process or any person or any activity is known as case study. This is another example, which is public policy development and implementation, a case study of Ghana National Health Insurance Scheme. In this, a detailed, in-depth understanding of National Health Insurance Scheme is done. Second type is the grounded theory. As the name indicate, in grounded, we want to understand that what is the inside reason for the process. And after understanding the inside reason behind the process, researcher creates theory. Like studies people experiences with the process and creates theory. This is different about the grounded theory, like how the process works. Focuses on creating theory from data collected in research, and it generates meaning from the data. This is an example of a grounded theory. The process we want to study is delayed tuberculosis diagnosis in Pakistan. And in-depth study, we collect data through multiple sources. We can observe it, we can do interviews, focused group discussions, or any other surveys. And at the end, we have generated theory that are the factors responsible for the delayed diagnosis of tuberculosis in Pakistan. Now, as a result of in-depth study, we have generated the factors. So this is known as grounded theory. Number third is the ethnography. In this type of study, the researcher goes in the natural settings of the participants and observe them for a prolonged period of time, and studies a group with distinct culture and society. The example of ethnography is, the topic is vaccination refusal among a community A. Natural settings, the researcher will go in that community and live there and observe the people. An outcome would be that observe the values, tradition, beliefs, and cultures responsible for the refusal of the vaccination. Then is the phenomenology. It is the essence of human experience. It recruits participants who had experienced the phenomena of interest. This is different from the other types, that in this study the participants must have experienced the phenomena which is under study. Example is that we want to study the terrorism attack at a particular market, and the participants will be those who have experienced the terrorism attack, and we are going to collect data to understand the human experience. This is another study which is showing the teenager response to conditions of basic level emergency, which is a phenomena study. And this, they have recruited the teenager participants who have seen the conditions of basic level emergency. Now is the narrative approach. In narrative approach, stories of individuals about their life and experiences are studied. The examples are stories can be biography, in which or it could be autobiography, in which you yourself write your story. And life and experiences are studied, like it's, for example, life of a successful sportsman, scientist, politician, or anything else. This is another example. The experience of someone supporting with dementia and cancer, a narrative approach. It's a person who had someone with dementia and cancer at home, and it's a narrative approach of his life. Then the question arises, when to stop data collection in a qualitative study. The quality data is stopped when there is data saturation is achieved. For example, in a particular topic, we start gathering data. Initially, we get many new codes and themes, but after a certain point, we do not get any new code, or we do not identify any new theme. So then the data collection is stopped. Now it's the time for the MCQs. A study was done by the researcher to know about the culture and traditions of females living in rural community, which has infant mortality rate higher than the country's average. The best study design will be ethnography.
A.
Yes, the correct
Ethnography.
answer is ethnography. A researcher wants to know about life story of a Nobel Prize winner on peace and humanity. The appropriate study design will be,
D. Phenomenology.
yes, the correct study design is a narrative approach, because he wants to study the life story of a Nobel Prize winner. A researcher wants to gather information about the reasons for vaccination refusal in a community. Which of the following method of data collection is being used in the figure?
B.
Yes, this is a focused group discussion. We can see that there are 6 to 8 participants, and we also have a moderator and a note taker who can record the focused group discussion. In an air crash accident which occurred in Karachi in Pakistan in 2018, there were 2 survivors from the air crash. A researcher wants to know about the experience of survivors during the air crash. The appropriate study design will be
A. Study.
Phenomenology.
the correct answer is phenomenology,
A.
because the participants have experienced the phenomena of interest. A primary healthcare unit has started directly observed therapy for treating tuberculosis in community with high number of cases. The cases do not comply with medications when they have been provided with medication at home. And the cases take medication when they are being observed at primary healthcare. Which of the following explains this phenomena?
B.
Yes, this is Hawthorne bias. The participants change their behavior when they are being observed. A researcher wants to know about perspective of precautions of COVID-19 among a community. For this, he conducted a focus group discussion. To assess the quality of discussion, following diagram is made. What is this diagram called? Line diagram, scatter charts, sociogram, choropleth, and or area map.
D.
The correct answer is C, sociogram. Now, after focus group discussion is done, we can plot the discussion in form of this graph. This allows us to interpret that whether the quality of the focus group discussion, whether all the participants were participating or there were only one or two participants who were participating and rest of them were not participating. So it tells us, it gives us idea about the quality of the focus group discussion. A researcher wants to conduct study on students' perspective regarding failure during examination. He wants to calculate sample size before starting research. Which of the following is the best approach? Use Flee's formula, use Cochrane formula, ask supervisor about the number of participants to be included, start research and collect data till data saturation is reached.
D.
Yes, the correct answer is D. Because in qualitative research, the sample size is not calculated at the start, but the data is collected till the data saturation is reached, which is the point in which there are no new codes or new themes identified in the data. A researcher has collected data about experiences of people in terrorism attack. After going into details and reading data again and again, he has developed some codes. These codes can be used for developing themes, data collection, quality of data collection, develop research question.
D.
No, these themes after coding, the codes are merged to develop themes. So A is the correct answer. Which of the following is drawback of qualitative research?
A.
Yes, the correct answer is A. It is dependent upon data collector skill. An expert data collector is going to collect data in more in-depth way, whereas a data collector who has is not as good as getting collecting data may not get the in-depth perspective about the topic. A study is conducted to assess the quality of life of patients with lung cancer. For this purpose, data is collected. The researcher wants to analyze the data according to themes. The best software which will help in coding and analyzing data will be?
And Vivo.
Yes, the correct answer is NVivo. These are the references of my presentation, and thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Mehreen. It is a wonderful presentation, a very elaborative account of qualitative research. And I think everything is very clear. I really appreciate the concepts that you have given with the beautiful slides, as well as by giving case studies. Especially the case study of grounded theory and phenomenology with the interpretive phenomenological analysis. That was the most important part that you have presented today. You have also given a very good section on MCQ, and I am glad that uh, each and every MCQ has been attempted by the students very well, especially about Hawthorne effect, as we know that Hawthorne effect is change in behavior. And the scenario that you have presented, it is one of the scenario that is very well known to us, and especially in preventive medicine and community medicine, we often see the people who are very well show compliance with the drug treatment when they were observed. And as long as they are being observed, they are showing compliance. But when they are giving drugs to be used in their homes, or they are put to certain situation where there is no access for their assessment of their behaviors, then we have seen that their compliance to drugs has decreased, and it leads to a defaulter state. And we have seen many cases of relapse due to defaulters. So it is again a very good example of Hawthorne effect. We all know the issue of qualitative research, the limitations of the qualitative research, how the coding that has replaced the important themes and sub-themes and categories, and how the first cycle and second cycle iteration of different themes would help to decrease the bias that is present in the qualitative research. Another important thing that you have discussed about different methods of collecting data, like interviews, focus group discussions, etc. Important thing is about triangulation. When you have different sources of data, when you have different study designs, you can always go for triangulation to increase the credibility of your qualitative research. It is important to know the credibility, validity, and reproducibility of the qualitative research. So well done. I would stop here. If there is any question from the class, they are most welcome to ask here. Okay. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.